One of our students scored 11 in listening, reading 12, which is unheard of these days, writing 11, speaking 11. Today, let's focus on why or how the student got an 11 in listening, because a lot of you are struggling there. But if you are like the student, you want to follow these 10 CELPIP listening tips from HZad Education, starting with tip number 1, which is to familiarize yourself with the format. Don't go into the exam without understanding the sections, the parts, the timing of the actual exam. You want to make sure you go through practice tests, and you also want to ensure you are resonating with the exam difficulty level. Don't take it lightly. The real exam is very hard. So what you want to do is check out the link in the description for our CELPIP course. It includes 5 exam-like mock tests, which are extremely tough, and they'll challenge you just like the actual exam will. So practice with those and familiarize yourself with the format of listening. The second thing is you want to focus on the first few seconds. A lot of the times hints are dropped here and people miss them, because in the first few seconds, whatever is being said is very easy to ignore because you're not ready to listen. But here, sometimes they say things like, "Oh my," and then a question can come later on after the whole conversation, and the question could ask, how was the lady initially responding, or what was their initial reaction? Or it could be something like, "Wow, this is amazing," and then the whole topic later on might be talking about something else. You might have forgotten that the person said, "Wow, this is amazing." So if the question later comes up and asks you about the initial reaction, you don't want to miss that. So be ready from the very first microsecond. Okay, the next thing is listen for the main idea, not the noise. Now, if there is a sentence that says that, also I was thinking for a long time that I should probably move, and it's something that was really hard for me to think about, but yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot. In this sentence, what's the main idea? The main idea is, I need to move. If you miss this and all you write down is, I was thinking and I was thinking, you're missing the point. You shouldn't even need to write, this person was thinking. These are things you want to memorize as well, because you cannot just keep taking notes on everything. You don't have that much time or humanly possible speed. But you want to write down for sure that this person is about to move or thinking to move. That point, that main idea should be in your notes, not the noise. Sometimes the speakers of these tests talk too much just so you can get confused, and then you do get confused. So make sure to avoid the noise and get the main ideas in. This is also key if you are unable to take notes efficiently. You might miss some notes, let's be honest. You can't write everything down and you might lose some marks because of that. However, if you can get mostly the main ideas, you can get 80 to 90% of your things correct. So look for the main ideas, and again, take notes. Remember, in CELPIP listening, you have the listening playing first, you have to take notes during this time, and then rely on those notes to answer the questions coming up later. You don't get the questions with the audio or video. So you want to take notes, and as I've mentioned before, I have covered this in a 20-minute video before, but I'm going to do this quickly in a minute, and I'll tell you that you want to take as many notes as possible. You have to multitask, listen, and take notes at the same time. You want to memorize some of the things that have been said, because you can't really write everything down. So use your memory and notes, and how you can do that nicely is use your memory to understand the tone, and the important specific points, write those down. Then also draw arrows, pictures, images, whatever helps you relate one point to another, or whatever helps you summarize things. For example, if the person says, "I saw Bob yesterday and he was fuming with anger." So instead of writing that whole phrase, you can just make an angry face. It takes half a second. Okay, so take notes the right way, and that's going to summarize a lot of key information that you will need when you answer the questions. Point number 5 is to practice paraphrasing. Now, this is something you want to do at home, and you might not, because it's a general kind of practice, but if you do, you will stand out among many students, and this will greatly improve your listening. How we do this exercise in classes is we play a YouTube video, and then we do this exercise with students, then we ask them to do the same thing in class in their homework. So the YouTube video will play 1 or 2 sentences, and then pause. Ask the student to say the same thing in their own words. And if the student is copying more than 50%, we will ask them to do it again. more than 50% of whatever was said should now be said in your own words. Then we try to make it challenging. We try to do 30 seconds and paraphrase this. And once you do this consistently, your skills here improve drastically. So not only are you able to fully comprehend and understand what was said, you're also able to paraphrase the words, and the questions will do the same. So if the questions use different words or synonyms, you will not be shocked or you will not be puzzled. Practicing paraphrasing is key to avoiding traps in the actual exam. Okay, next thing is you want to pay attention to transition words. Of course, things like and but, they don't matter much. But keywords like furthermore or next, these things show that we're moving from one point to another. So change your part of your notes when you're taking notes. When you're transitioning, put those notes in another column, especially when it comes to however, nevertheless, when they're completely changing sides, or if they say, however, I thought differently and I think, so you know it's a different opinion. So you could put it in a different section of your notes. Every time a stance is changed, organize it separately in your notes. It'll be neat and easy for you to understand. Improve your vocabulary. Simple, pretty straightforward. Work on vocabulary building as much as possible. This will save your life in all modules, not only this one. So you want to use our vocab lists. They are in the description again in our course. You have right now more than 800 words, CELPIP specific, that help you in all these modules and that are seen many times in the exams. So you want to go through that list, practice 20 to 30 words a day, make multiple sentences with each word. That helps you remember them effectively. And again, they're all in the course below. But also, you can practice listening to videos, and this is a listening skill, so not reading. Listen to TV shows, interviews, YouTube videos, or movies in the Canadian accent and work on the words that you don't know. Watch out for distractors. I don't mean the other students talking here, because in listening, you're all just starting, so there are no distractions from other students who might be on other parts. That happens in speaking, unfortunately. But in listening, that means watch out for the multiple choice questions that you think are irrelevant. So if I answered the question A right away, it looks okay, A is perfect. I'm not going to ignore B, C, D, because a lot of the times there are two correct answers and it's simple. One is just more correct than the other. In fact, an exercise we were doing recently, it had all 4 questions correct for a certain question, and one of them just had everything else in it. For example, the questions were talking about this method is good, this method is good, this method is good. So you had 3 options. The 4th option was saying we should use improved methods. So the 4th option talks about improved methods, which encapsulates every other method. So that one here, everything is correct, but 4 just copies every other content and is more overall. And it's again pointing out to the overall picture. So I'm going to select that, and that was the correct answer. So look out for all options because sometimes they're very close together. Next thing is listen for the speaker's tone and emotion. Again, I said this already at the start, first few seconds, but here as well in the middle, at the end, look out for the tone. The key difference among CELPIP, IELTS, and different exams is in CELPIP, they ask you a lot of questions based on how did the person feel? What was their reaction? Were they positive, negative, and so on. They also do this especially in part 5, and this is your final tip for today. Here you have a video. The only part where you have a video, you have to look at the video, listen to the audio of the video, and then answer the questions. Now, in this video, you have to also analyze people, much like how you would do in all other parts of your CELPIP listening test. But here you want to analyze their facial expressions. Are they sad? Are they mourning? Are they happy? Accordingly, the questions will ask you what their reactions were, or how did this person react to that person. Also, focus on the overall tone, emphasis, where if they're happy, they might exaggerate those adjectives. I am extremely happy. I am doing very well. Or this is terrific. Similarly, if there's anger, it's going to be the opposite. And those are the things, those emphasis are the things you want to look out for. A lot of the questions will come just from the emphasis, tone, intonation. Now, you want to look at these 10 tips again and put yourself in the student's shoes who's going to go and give the exam while you're at home and practice. Think if you're doing these things correctly or not. And once again, if you want to start off with tip number 1, check out the course in the description. Check out our mock tests. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. Please like, share, and subscribe as well. We'll talk soon. Take care.